Well, obviously on my workbench is a Singer Featherweight 221, and I don't need to tell you how busy it is during the holidays. All of you experienced that firsthand. And I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas. I know we did. And I posted some pictures as well as kind of those folks behind the scenes that comprise my family. So I saw from the response that you enjoyed meeting them. So that was cool. This Singer Featherweight 221 is going to be heading out to Sharon, who lives in a town called Selma, North Carolina. You can Google it. I know very little about the place, and if you want to share any fun facts about Selma, North Carolina, that's S-E-L-M-A, by all means do that. I think it'd be fun to do that. And if you do, I'll probably send you something special. So share with all of us all those secrets and fun things about Selma, North Carolina. So this particular 221 has been with me for a bit, and I finally have it ready to do those final sew-offs. And I'm going to be doing a variety of different sew-offs on it, primarily on leather, but I'm also going to sneak over and grab some US Army grade canvas as well, so you can see the stitch quality of this machine on that also. And getting it balanced is always one of the big challenges when it comes to finalizing and confirming the final steps of a restoration for a machine. And Sharon's 221 was no exception. And I've got a sew off just to show you some of that fine tuning that I did, which I hope will prove helpful to you as you fine tune your machine at home and try to get that stitch balance just right. So let me zoom in a little bit on that and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I've shared this with many of you before. When it comes to getting a stitch just right, you have to kind of turn your thinking upside down in a sense. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more on this gorgeous 221 of Sharon's to make my point. Let's see here. I'm going to lock it in right about there and right about there, and then get my screen turned around. Okay, so when you're trying to balance stitches on a machine, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten emails from folks saying my top stitch is loose, and so I've really ratcheted down that upper stitch control to try to tighten that top stitch. Well, that's absolutely backwards. If your top stitch is loose, that's a product of your bobbin carrier down in the raceway not having enough pull to tighten that top stitch. If we turn it over and you're having bird nesting and your lock stitch is giving you trouble, that's a product of your upper tension control, and so you'll have to increase your upper tension control in order to tighten that lock stitch, okay? And I always, just so I don't get turned around as I'm racing through and doing those final stitch offs off camera, I always write right on the material top, and then on the other side I write lock, so that I don't forget where my adjustments need to be happening, okay? So I'm going to zoom in even a little bit closer. Give me a second here. Turn my screen around. You know what, I might as well zoom over by the needle area, because that's where we're going to be working next. You know what I mean? All right, so let me lock that in place. And yeah, by the way, any of you are making remarks about the shine on Sharon's machine after I got done with the restoration, I should have had a warning at the beginning of this video to put on sunglasses. My apologies. All right. All right. So, as we look at this stitch off here, and I should probably bring my lights down a little bit to help with this. All the way on the left over here is going to be the first stitch off I did after all the mechanical restoration steps were completed. Now generally I'm pretty close to the game, because after I get done fine-tuning everything, cleaning everything, conditioning everything, the machine is going to be pretty spot on as far as stitch, but not always. And you can see here we've got kind of a weak top stitch presenting. So that is a product of what again? I'm pausing dramatically here. Yes, you're right. If you've got a weak top stitch presenting, then that's a product of that bobbin carrier in the raceway not having enough pull to tighten up that stitch on top of the material. So I made some adjustments there, and I did go down to the bobbin carrier and made just a tiny little, probably about 1 to 2 millimeter adjustment on that bobbin carrier. And you can see in this second line here, hopefully you can see, it's already beginning to present a lot clearer as far as the definition of that top stitch. Then I came over to this row and this sew off, and I made just a slight more adjustment on that bobbin carrier. It was a little bit out of whack. And here again, the top stitch is presenting real well. The thing you can't see is down below on the lock stitch in that third row, I started to see that the stitch was getting out of balance a little bit. In other words, the bobbin carrier was winning that tug of war, and you could start to see that there was too much pull on the part of the bobbin carrier for that top stitch. So I decided to countermand it by increasing the upper tension with the dial and brought it from about 3 up to just a little bit beyond 4. And the final product was this stitch row right here, all the way on the far right, where I've got a beautiful defined top stitch, and I've got an equally beautifully defined lock stitch as well. And that's kind of the tug of war process that you go through when you're trying to get as perfect of a balance between the top stitch and the lock stitch as possible. Just remember, it's backwards. If you're having issues with the top stitch, you've got to look at that raceway and the bobbin carrier. If you're having issues with that lock stitch on the bottom, you've got to look at that upper tension control and increasing that to get that into balance again. Okay? Hopefully that helps a little bit. I always want to reinforce that because I continue to get emails and notes from folks about that challenge. And it's totally fine. I totally get it, because it is kind of almost a mirror image of what you would expect when you're looking at getting that stitch balanced. Okay, all right, so let's focus a little bit on this Singer 221, and I'm going to throw an impromptu contest at you. Okay, I've already kind of tipped the scales that way a little bit by saying, tell me about Selma, North Carolina, which is where Sharon and her family are from, and that's where this 221 is going to be heading. I have one other small contest for you. Okay, tell me, first of all, where do you find the serial number on a Singer Featherweight 221? The second thing is, I want the birth date of Sharon's 221, okay? And I'm going to give you her serial number, and hopefully you can provide those 2 answers. That's only one contest there, and I'm looking for 2 answers. Where do you find the serial number? Secondly, tell me the birth date of this machine. Okay, so the serial number of Sharon's machine is A as in apple, or as we used to say in the military, A as in alpha, K as in Kevin, or as we used to say in the military again, kilo, so Alpha Kilo 417391. AK 417391. There you go. All right. So post your answers on Facebook, and then reach out to me privately if I name you as the winner, and you'll want to share your mailing information, and I'll send something in the mail to you as a nice giveaway gift. Also, a second giveaway again is tell me and post details about Selma, North Carolina. 2 different contests here, folks. The serial number one and the Selma, North Carolina one. So you've got 2 opportunities to potentially win. Okay? All right. So focusing now on this really cool, as I refer to it, the princess of singers, the Singer 221. And what we're going to sew off on first, and it's no great task for this Singer Featherweight 221, is going to be a total, you know what, I feel almost like I'm kind of insulting this little machine, but I'm going to do 2 layers of this U.S. Army grade canvas, okay? So I'm going to, give me a second. I don't want to waste this material. I'm going to go ahead and cut it down the middle real quick. So we have a total of 2 pieces, so I'm ready for my next sew off in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down. Otherwise, I'm going to have a lot of wasted material. All right. So I'm going to put this to the side. So we basically have U.S. Army grade canvas here. This is no introduction to any of you. You've seen this before numerous times. I'm going to go ahead and move it underneath the presser foot. And again, remember, as you're dealing with heavier grade materials, whether you're using a Singer Featherweight or pretty much any other machine, you're always going to make a slight adjustment on that presser foot pressure and increase it. You want to have more pressure when you're dealing with thicker grade materials. You want to reduce it as you're sewing with lighter materials, okay? So I'm going to get my big old hand out of the way. We've got 2 layers of U.S. Army grade canvas. Here we go. And I'm going to be real quiet while we're sewing so you can listen to how smooth, silky smooth, Sharon Singer 221 is, okay? All right, here we go. What do you think of that? I love the sound of that. People always want to say something is humming or purring. That's a bunch of malarkey. Malarkey. I almost made a new word. Malarkey. You know what? When it comes to a properly restored machine, it's just harmonic. That's the best way to describe it. So here we have our top stitch. And you know what? That is everything about the perfect stitch, folks. I'm going to bring my other light in as well, and hopefully that'll shine some light on the situation in a sense. So here we have our top stitch. Perfect spacing, formation, presentation is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. If I turn it over, we've got our lock stitch, and again, where before there was kind of an imbalance, right now, I'm going to pull it back, we've got an absolutely gorgeous top lock stitch as well. So when we're looking at a beautiful lock stitch like this, the presentation is spot on. That means our upper tension is doing the job properly. When we look at that top stitch, we know our bobbin carrier down in the raceway is working in concert with that upper tension to give us a beautiful top stitch as well. And I will show both because I've said it before, you can have a nice top stitch and an ugly as sin lock stitch, and they're not going to show that to you when you're looking on certain sites where you might be looking at purchasing a machine from someone other than me. So I really want to show the proof in the pudding. You got to get that stitch balanced both ways. Then you know you have a machine that has been restored in a spectacular manner. All right, so absolute pass on the U.S. Army grade canvas. So now I've got a single layer of this genuine cowhide. Nothing thin about this stuff at all. If you can kind of see that nap on the back and the grain of that leather, it's all about heavy grade. And I'm going to slide it underneath the presser foot of this Princess of Singers, get it into position, and we're going to see how this little Princess of Singers with that 0.4 amp motor does with a job that would bog down a lot of the newer machines out there now that boast of having a bigger motor than 0.4 amps. All right, here we go. We probably have about 3 ounces of genuine cowhide, and let's see how this machine does. Here we go. I intentionally took that slow. I could have gone pedal to the metal, but I wanted to show you that when a machine is properly restored, you don't need to be concerned about giving it full throttle and get a good product as far as how that machine is going to sew that material. And the evidence is here, folks. You can see it right here. Give me just a second. I got a little tangle on the back of the thread. Right here you've got our top stitch on this 3 ounces of genuine cowhide leather. That stitch is absolutely spectacular. The spacing, the formation, I'm going to turn it like this as well for you. Hopefully that helps. One of these angles is going to be right. It's always a little bit hard in this lighting to see whether or not I'm giving you a good shot of it. I really want to. And then if we turn it over, we got an equally gorgeous lock stitch as well. And you know what? It really drives it home. This little Princess of Singers is not messing around when it comes to making sure that that lock stitch is in fact locked. So I definitely give it a pass here. The top stitch, the lock stitch are spectacular on this genuine cowhide leather. I almost said full grain leather. That would not be correct. So I'm going to toss this to the side. Absolute thumbs up on this. I love the look of that stitch. So I had said to all of you, and I've got to wipe off this machine a little bit. It looks like that leather grain kind of let loose a little bit. And I've got to keep our princess looking princessy. There we go. Kind of like wiping off your chin when you're having something that's really juicy. You got to keep yourself cleaned up. We got to keep our princess cleaned up as well. So, all right. So what I'm going to do next is I'm really going to push this princess to the limits. What I said, and I will not retract that, is that once this Singer Featherweight 221 was restored properly, that it would be able to go toe-to-toe with a number of Singer 1591s out there and a number of the Singer 201-2s out there. And by doing that, I was referring to going through 6 to 8 ounces of genuine cowhide leather. You look at it from the side and judge for yourself. And most people would say, hold on, buddy, are you losing your mind? There's no way a Singer Featherweight 221 can pull this off. Malarkey. Unless that Singer Featherweight 221 has been on this bench right here. Because my machines will outperform, outpace, and over-deliver more than most people would ever expect any machine to be able to do, particularly a Singer Featherweight 221. So I'm going to slide this underneath the presser foot, and we're going to see if I can match what I've claimed with this 221. All right, presser foot is down. I'm going to go ahead and try to get my foot firmly planted on that foot control, and let's see what this little 221 can do with 6 to 8 ounces of genuine cowhide leather. This is not an easy task, folks. And if you've got a Featherweight 221 at home and it hasn't been on this workbench, caution, warning, stop. Do not try this at home. All right, here we go. Not even a challenge, folks. Not even a blink from this Singer Featherweight 221 with its little 0.4 amp motor. But you know what? 0.4 amps doesn't mean a hill of beans when you're talking about a machine that has been restored by me. Look at what it did. That top stitch, it doesn't get any better than that. The spacing, the formation, the presentation, and also I'd like you to note that with a little machine like this, a 0.4 amp motor, it would not be uncommon, it would not be shocking to have skip stitches. Because you know what, it just, if it isn't restored properly, it just doesn't have the drive, the punch to consistently get through this much leather. But you know what? Not a single missed stitch on these 2 layers of genuine cowhide leather. You look at it again from the side, folks. That is crazy, crazy thick. And yet this little featherweight, spin it back after this premiere. Spin it back. Watch it time and time and time again. Not even a pause, a hiccup, or a, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. This little Singer Featherweight 221, Sharon's Singer Featherweight 221 out of Selma, North Carolina said, wow, we're going to get it done. And it got it done without even blinking. If we turn it over, you know what? That lock stitch is just as spectacular. As a matter of fact, holy mackerel, it is driven into that leather so deep You can just barely see the red of the thread through there. But I'll tell you one thing, and I am really yanking on this, that leather is not going to come apart. And again, when you're talking about a sewing challenge like this, look at that. 6 to 8 ounces of genuine cowhide leather. And this Singer Featherweight, yes, I said it, a Singer Featherweight 221 that was restored on this workbench, did it like it was a single layer of denim, a single layer of something that is so easy peasy that even the contemporary machines could get it done. And yet this Singer Featherweight 221 went through close to 8 ounces of genuine cowhide leather and remained as pretty as a new penny and got the job done. You know what? That's the real deal, folks. That's what makes my machines the finest sewing machines in the world, hands down. I won't even apologize for a statement like that. It's absolutely a fact. You can pay the same amount of money you would to me for a fully restored machine on eBay, Craigslist, or somewhere else, and you'll be getting something that is not the genuine article. This is the genuine article, and you just saw it demonstrated and proven by a sew-off that would bog down the majority of Singer 201-2s, 1591s, you name it, out there that have not been restored properly on a workbench right here. Gosh, I love this. I love when I can prove what I say all the time. There's no other sewing machine. If you want the best, if you say, you know what, I'm going to make an investment for my personal use, for my business, for my pleasure, and I want the best sewing machine in the world, there it is. On this workbench, folks. Make a New Year's resolution that if you've been waiting to get that machine of your dreams and you want the finest machine that will outlast you and me and to become basically a family heirloom to pass on to your daughter, your son, your grandkids, don't buy a machine anywhere else, folks. It's just a no-brainer. Honestly, it is. All right, I'm going to line these sew-offs up right here. And then I'm going to pull out a little bit so you can, let me move that to the side. And I did a horrible job. I didn't clip any of my threads here. It's horrific. Whoa, I dropped that one too. Hold on, folks, hold on. That's the problem with this U.S. Army grade canvas, is it just goes wherever it decides it wants to go. All right, let me bring these lights in. I'm going to go by these stitches a little bit closer, because I really want you to see. When I'm right there at the workbench, I can see what these stitches look like. It's sometimes a little bit more of a challenge. I've seen that at premieres like this where, you know, I haven't been able to zoom in, or I haven't remembered to zoom in, and all of a sudden you can't see the stitch quality. Good gravy. Look at that. That's our 2 layers of U.S. Army grade canvas. Right here we've got our single layer of genuine cowhide leather. I don't have the best angle on this. I wish I did. Maybe what I'll do is I'll go over there and actually hold it up and kind of move it around a little bit, because I'm not satisfied with what you're able to see right now in this shot. It's kind of irritating. But that's the nature of dealing with cameras, is they focus where they want to focus. So I'm going to try to move over there again, and I'll do my best to hold this up. I want you to see it. So first of all, the U.S. Army grade canvas. There we go. Almost got it. Those stitches, folks, are absolutely perfect. Look at those. That is bragging rights right there. I've said it before, and no one ever, even Alex Ashcroft, wonderful gentleman out of England, I've challenged him, I've challenged everybody around the world to show me a machine of theirs that can do what my machines do. I've never, ever had anyone take that challenge. Okay, single layer of genuine cowhide. Trying to get the right angle here, folks. Maybe like that. That is absolutely a drop dead gorgeous stitch as well. I mean, that is just the premier stitch in my opinion. The spacing, the formation, everything about that stitch is absolutely spot on. And I've got to reverse my thinking too. As I see it drifting off in my little screen, I try to move it one way and I'm moving it the wrong way because it's a mirror image basically. Look at that. That is gorgeous. And then finally we have the task that most people were like, oh no way, you are not going to do that. And here we've got 2 layers of genuine cowhide, and look at the stitch quality there. Holy mackerel. Absolutely drop dead gorgeous. You know what? This is so much fun sometimes, isn't it? Isn't it so much fun? Because you know why? A lot of people can say this or that, or make this claim or make that claim or whatever it is. But most of them are going to run to the hills. And if you live in the hills, no offense. They're going to run to the hills when it comes to proving that claim. And they might show you still shots, and you don't know from Adam what kind of machine has sewn off on that material. They may show you a machine on eBay or Craigslist or somewhere else, and they will show you the stitch output of that supposedly, and then you get that machine home and you're like, there's no way that that machine sewed this amount of material. There's just no way. And I've had customers that have gotten my machines. I always send the sew-offs with. And I've had a couple of them send me notes saying, I got the machine. I was like, can that machine really do that? And I stitched alongside right next to where you had just stitched. And that machine did exactly what you promised it would do. And that's the difference when you're buying a machine and investing in a machine from this workbench, is that promise is fulfilled. When you get that machine, not only is it going to do what you've seen on camera. I haven't just given you still shots so you're like, well, I wonder if that machine actually sewed that. You see it sewing it. And then you get that machine and you can confirm it yourself by sewing right alongside where I sewed, and have that confidence that that machine can do that. And then you start to play around with that machine a little bit and you're like, Scott didn't even give it full justice. That machine can do more than he's even shown on camera. And that's the fun part, where you get to discover that machine and you can see that its potentials far exceed what I've documented on camera. And that's what I want you to feel. You know, my approach to things is I want to underpromise. And then when you get that machine and it's yours and it's in your home and it's in your workshop, and it's on your table and you're making your wallets or you're making your purses or whatever it is that you're making with it, and you're like, it does even more than I could have expected. You know, it's exceeded my expectations. That's the way it should be. And I can't tell you countless times for people that have purchased on eBay, Craigslist, or some other site, or locally, and then they get that machine and it's a disappointment, and they get disenchanted sometimes with that vintage machine. And then finally they may come around and they'll say, you know what, I don't even know if Scott can turn this machine around. And they'll package it up and they'll send it to me, and then they'll get it back and their faith is restored, because I will not give up on a machine. I don't care how bad off it is. Go through some of the videos documenting the machines that I've gotten, back to Shelley's machine and others that not only aesthetically but mechanically are a mess. And I will stick to that machine and be relentless in getting it back to where it needs to be, for the glory of that machine and also for the enjoyment of that sewer. So make a New Year's resolution to finally make that investment with the machine of your dreams. Contact me, tell me what you're looking to do, and I will match you up with the perfect machine to get that job done. That is a promise. I will match you up with a perfect machine. And if you send me a note about show me all the machines you have for sale, you know what? One of these days I'm going to do that. I'm going to go through a long litany of 200 plus machines that I have that are waiting and ready for their opportunity to be restored and say, okay, there's your 200 plus machines. Which one do you want? Whoa, 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 whoa. I can't make that decision. I've got to know that it can do what I need it to do. Exactly. And that's why when a customer contacts me, I'll say, tell me what you're looking to do. You're looking to sew leather? How many ounces? How many additional layers? What thickness are we talking about? That's how you match the perfect machine to your sewing needs. Not by going down a list of machines and saying, well, maybe, maybe not. I want you to be absolutely satisfied. Okay? Just like Sharon out of where? Selma, North Carolina. And again, contest opportunity. Post all the facts you can about Selma, North Carolina, and I'll send you something special. Post where you find the serial number on the Singer Featherweight 221, and also what the birth date of this Singer Featherweight 221 is. Sharon's Featherweight out of Selma, North Carolina. What's the serial number again? Did you write it down? I hope you did. A as in Apple, K as in Kevin, 417391. Post your answers on Facebook, and I wish you folks a wonderful New Year. I don't know if I'm going to be posting another video by then, so Happy New Year to you. Hope you enjoyed this premiere video, and God bless you guys. Hope you again had a wonderful holiday, a wonderful Christmas, and it's the funnest part right now, if I can say funnest part, to be able to now carefully and meticulously pack up this wonderful Singer Featherweight 221 and send it towards Sharon in Selma, North Carolina. All right, I'm signing off. Take care, folks. Watch for more contests and more videos.